We're coming up to the bottom of the hour, continuing with our coverage of the passing of the former Deputy President of the country and the ANC, David Mabuza, the Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, among those who've already paid their tributes to him. He says, on behalf of the ANC, we extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, comrades, and the people of South Africa. Mbalula then says, we've lost a patriot, a freedom fighter, and a leader who served with humility and conviction. Let's speak further then with the office of the ANC Secretary General. Bring in the one of the Deputy Secretary Generals in the organization, Nomvula Mokonyane, joining us this evening, the first Deputy Secretary General, pardon me. Good to have your time, ma'am, this evening. Under difficult circumstances, I'd imagine, for people like you who knew David Mabuza beyond the official titles.
My name is Nomvula Mokonyane. I'm the first Deputy Secretary General of the ANC. Firstly, I wish to convey my sincere condolences to the wife, the children, the family of Comrade Didi Mabuza, as he was fondly called, to the people of South Africa and all members of the African National Congress and the Mass Democratic Movement. It is a sad day because Didi was one of those dependable members of the ANC who has remained loyal to the ANC beyond his positions of leadership.
And on that note, even today in some of the tributes, people are praising David Mabuza for how, when he decided in 2023 that it was time to go, he left without drama and really wasn't heard from again until he joined some of you on the campaign trail last year, just before the election. What does that suggest about his style of leadership and perhaps his approach to being a member of the ANC, whether in or out of public office?
Didi never put his position of being in public office as a prerequisite of him becoming a member. He remained a cadre of the ANC, moved away from public life, but continued to work for the ANC, to serve the ANC, and when duty called for him to be amongst those that would go out and do organizational work, Comrade Didi would do that with passion, with commitment, as well as with the release of his time and energy when he had actually resolved that it is time to spend time with the family. This is a good lesson that many of us are learning out of this cadre, a patriot, and somebody who remained loyal to the ANC until the end.
And away from the public glare, ma'am, what was David Mabuza like when it was in the confines, let's say, of a cabinet meeting or an ANC NEC meeting, where we know that there can be a level of contestation and sometimes it's difficult for people to come back together and focus on the bigger objectives because sometimes the factional issues can take over? How did he maneuver those dynamics?
In my encounter with Didi as a member of the ANC inside ANC meetings, he was amongst those who always spoke when he felt there is a valuable input that he has to make, who listened to everybody, who was prepared to engage and get to understand even those that he might have not agreed with them. And as we all know, he was forever full of smiles, of laughter, and also being able to reassure people. In ANC meetings, Didi would want meetings to focus on what the task at hand, what needs to be done, and how the organization moves forward. In implementing organizational programs, Didi was always amongst the first volunteers. Many of the ANC members and South Africans will remember that even at a time when he was the chairperson of the ANC in Mpumalanga, when there is a rally, when there's a mass event, Didi would be the first volunteer out doing door-to-door, working amongst the people. When there is a rally to fill up a stadium, Didi will be amongst those that will be counting buses and ensuring that buses move from one point to the other to bring people to the ANC's event without first wanting to have a seat on the podium.
Right. And it's no secret that the former deputy president had struggled with his health. I think in the last 5 years, in fact, he had gone even to Russia to seek medical treatment there. Post his time as deputy president, how much did illness bother him? And what do you know, perhaps, ma'am, about his last few days?
My last encounter with Comrade Didi was a few months ago when we communicated about preparations for the coming local government elections and the support that would require from him. He was very committed, but indicating that him and his family have resolved that he needs to give himself time to listen to his body, to give the necessary support to the family, and as and when we require him, he will come back. Just as he said in the heat of the last national and provincial elections. Didi was a reassuring person, because even in that conversation we had, when we went to the national election strategy and we're looking at the infrastructure we're going to need going to the 2026 local government elections, his response was, you must come back to the farm, we need to talk, there are some of the vehicles that need to be repaired, and I want the ANC to take these resources and put them to good use. But before that, he was committed to make sure that they get serviced, they get refurbished, and that they are managed at a level where they can be of good use to the ANC across the country.
And very briefly, I know we're just about 2-3 hours from when we heard the announcement that he had passed away, but to your mind, how will the ANC then begin to mourn or mark the time of his death? And ultimately, what do you think, as a fellow comrade and colleague, will be his most enduring legacy?
Obviously, as it is in our culture, we will all have to rally behind the family. His immediate family is the one that would have to guide and give approval on anything and everything that has to be done. And in the culture of the African National Congress, we rise to lend a hand and seek approval and support from the family to celebrate together with them, to mourn together with them. And in that's when then we will put together processes of communicating, of sharing the life and times, and most importantly, of learning out of the life of a leader like David Mabuza, a member of the African National Congress like David Mabuza. And I think my take is that let's remember Comrade Didi as a loyal member of the ANC to the end, as a true patriot to the end, not only a leader, but an activist who, even during difficult times, he will rise to the occasion and do what is good for the movement without any expectation of a reward.
Nomvula Mokonyane, First Deputy Secretary General of the African National Congress. Good to have your time, ma'am, this evening. Thank you for being on the SABC.